Hi everybody, I'm Kathy L. Murphy and welcome to Lamoureaux Gallery, which is awesome. Thank you all for coming out. I'm going to do a quick little book talk for all of you, and then we're going to be following later with a fashion show. We have models coming that are going to be wearing some of my art-inspired kimonos that I designed based upon my paintings. But I'm here today because in life and in everything I do, it's all about the story. And the story began when I was in Stephanie Chance's Decorate Ornate in Lakewater, Texas, and I was setting up some paintings or something, and in walked Leonardo, Lamoureaux, and Nisha. And Nisha's not here, but Nisha. And they said, oh, we're looking around, we heard about your place, and we wanted to know if you know of any artists. And Stephanie goes, do we have an artist or what? So brought me out, and he said, I'm opening up a gallery in Tyler. And I go, fantastic, on the square, fantastic. Would you like to come over and bring your art? So I did. Now, we have set this event up, I think 3 times. But first of all, you know, we had COVID, then we had the ice storm, which I don't know about y'all. I live at Holly Lake Ranch. I got hit hard. I had to have my roofs repaired, completely re-roofed. All the plumbing burst in my house. That had to be done. So I've been painting like mad, trying to pay for all these bills, because in Texas, my insurance didn't cover ice and snow because it just doesn't happen that much here. So that brings us to today. So we finally found a day where we could do this event, and so I wanted to bring in, of course, all my friends. Stephanie, of course, is how I met Leonardo in the first place because of her store, Decorate Ornate. Tamara Bolton is one of my other dearest friends. I met her because she is a photographer journalist, and she came to do a story on me, and we just took one look at each other and say, I don't know, I think you're going to be my new best friend, kind of like me and Stephanie. That's how it is with me. I meet people, they're not strangers, and we have a love of coffee and wine. So we just hit it off. And so they're here today, and then Brenda Brandon I met through Stephanie because her art is over there as well as mine is over at Decorate Ornate too. So I'm really thrilled to be here because this is another page, another chapter in my life of being an artist. Now, how it all began was my mother was a big dreamer. She wanted to be a movie star. And she was an artist, and she was a speech and drama major, and she painted. And I, you know, wanted to be like her when I was little. And I watched what she did, and I loved color. Coloring books in color was my favorite thing in the world. And we had a next door neighbor who was an art student, and his wife was student teaching at the school, and he started giving my mom art lessons. And this guy went on to be world-renowned. His name was Jim Brothers. He's a bronze sculpturist. He was one of the main professors in the art department at the University of Kansas. And he saw me coloring one day, and he said, what are you doing? And I go, I'm coloring. He goes, you need to get a drawing pad and pencils and start drawing. And I said, but it's all about the color to me. And I am a firm believer that if you can color well, you have good control, hand-eye coordination, because you color within the lines. I'm still big. We still color. This is my daughter Madeline right here. So that seed was planted. And so all my life I wanted to be an artist. But what happens when I was, 17 and graduating from high school, you were encouraged to get married out of high school. I knew I didn't want to do that. So if you weren't going to get married, you either had to become a nurse or a school teacher. Well, I didn't want to be a school teacher because I taught French my senior year to grade school kids, and I said, no way. They were just, 6th grader boys are just awful. And I thought, no way I'm going to be a teacher, and I fainted the sight of blood, so I went to college kind of aimlessly, and I secretly changed my major to art. And to make a long story short, I had 2 sisters following me, so my mother said, well, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to pay for the rest of your way through, because your sisters are starting college, and it's expensive. So I couldn't figure out what I could do. Minimum wage was like $1.19, and apartment rents a month. You've got to work a lot of hours to, you know, pay for rent and appliances, in your bills. So I had a friend that took me to a beauty school, and she got a haircut, and I was watching this guy cut her hair, and I thought, I could do that. Looks like another art form to me. So I put myself through beauty school, and I started doing hair in salons and have 2 of my own. And years go by, you get married, I go to school, I pay as I went, I never borrowed any money, I drop out. So actually, 7 colleges later, I enrolled at the University of Texas in Tyler at 59, and I worked my way through college juggling 4 jobs, minimum wage jobs, running my book club, selling my art, and graduated there in December 2017. So for 43 years, it took me to become an artist. And now I'm on fire, and I turned 65 this summer, and I feel like a kid again. So I'm going to tell you, if anything, I hope when you look at my art, you'll be inspired to go after your passions, to write your stories, because these are my books, and these are my author friends who've written amazing stories. And I work primarily with alcohol ink because I'm back to that color again. I've never seen a medium where you can get this vibrant of a color, and the fact that in certain lights it looks like it's on fire, or it has glitter or metallics. I get really excited about glitter. I guess I'm a unicorn. I don't know. But I have always, in some form or fashion, been in service to other people by doing their hair. I had a bed and breakfast for a while. I worked as a makeup artist for Elizabeth Arden in California. I've done a lot of different things. But I'm doing now what I've always dreamed of, and I've never been so broke in my life. But you know what? I've learned that if you do something that you're really passionate about, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Your friends are your friends, right? I mean, my friend from Kansas, we've known each other since the 2nd grade. Her house, backyard backed into my backyard. We've known each other since 2nd grade, and she comes walking up the sidewalk, surprise, from Kansas. Now that's a friend, and I'll never forget it. But you all are here today, and there's a reason you're here too. Maybe there's something that you want to do, or something that you think, I'm scared to do it. I'm not scared to do anything anymore, because I've seen too many of my friends die from COVID and lose their lives in battles to cancer. And I figure, you know, when you turn 65, you're a senior, I'm a senior anyway. You kind of realize you're here for a limited amount of time, so you better make every minute matter. Because every day's a gift, it's a present, being the present, and I just can't thank you all for being here enough. If you have any questions about the art, I'll be glad to answer them. I use a lot of mixed media in my paints, and I was told you can't do that. And I was just telling her a minute ago, if somebody tells me you can't do something, that just makes me really want to do it. Like, you're too old to make your hair 4 shades of blue. I go, really? I don't think so. I've had it pink, purple, I've had it every color. A peacock, a unicorn, a chameleon, whatever. But, and then it's so funny because my kids, I said, try these things, do these things. They're so much more conservative compared to me. And I think it's so funny because they went to museums and art galleries and science discovery places, and I've taken them on trips to New Orleans and New York and Europe. Go see, do everything, but be safe, because it's, get those shots and, make wise choices. But anybody have any questions? This is Stephanie Chance, who wrote the Mamma Mia series and who owns Decorate, Ornate, and Greywater. If you have not been on this trip, I'm going to tell you, you have not lived. Because if you want to be treated like a king or queen, go on a Decorate, Ornate trip. I am saving up, buy all my paintings so I can go. Now, Tamara, she's got some incredible books, and her art Her Art of Story Keeping is one of the best books because every one of you have a story. And a lot of people go, I can never write a book. Well, don't. Audio tape it. You know, have somebody interview you. Get it down, because if you don't get it down, it's a library that's lost to your family and friends, and if somebody else writes it, they never get it right. You know, and everybody has a different perspective. When I wrote the first book, I was a memoir. It's your memories, and it doesn't mean it's always necessarily right, Heidi? We found out a lot of things when I wrote this book that weren't necessarily what I thought or even what Heidi thought. But that's what you learn, is that everybody has a different perspective. So get your story down, and it all begins with, I was born a small child and blah, blah, blah. And just write it down, and don't worry about editing it. It'll all come to you. Or audio tape it, or do something like that. So I'm going to tell you, this is, so a lot of people may think it's the last chapter in my book, but I've got a new book coming out called The Public Queens Goes Back to School. Because it's not just about going back to college at 59, it's about a lifetime of experiences and things that I've learned from my mistakes. Only I don't call them mistakes anymore. I call them discoveries. Because if you say, ooh, boy, I made a really bad mistake. But if you say, ooh, I discovered that didn't work. Do you see how much better that sounds? It makes you feel better too. So next time you think you made a mistake or a boo-boo, just go, well, I discovered that didn't work. And I'm going to tell you something. You cannot really have true success in life without having a lot of failures. Because the only way you learn is by asking the questions, making the, discoveries that didn't work. We've got to stop judging other people if they ask too many questions, or if I'm one of those people in class. The professors always dreaded me because I sat on the front row, and I was always going, now let me ask you this, and they're just like, you can just see them go, oh, that Murphy is driving me nuts. But at the end of the day, when I left that school, I knew what I was doing. And nobody worked harder than me in school. I was in that studio 24/7, and I'm painting now like the house is on fire. Actually, it's not on fire, it just got really damaged from the ice cream. But I am thankful for Leonardo for this wonderful new venue, and we can all help make it grow. Everything in life you do is about community. It's about sharing a conversation. It's about getting people on the same page. This is a dream, and it's a cool building. Actually, it's so much more interesting to me than a lot of places that I've been in that have the pristine walls. There's a story in these tin tiles. There's a story in that 5 and dime that was downstairs. And Leonardo has quite a story too. I just found out about his arm. If you don't know that story, you need to ask him. He needs to write a book. But everybody write your story. And I keep a pad and pencil by my bed because I always wake up with those epiphanies. And if I don't write them down, I forget them. So that's why some of these paintings, they go, man, that is so bizarre. It's because I woke up going, oh, I can cover these boxes with vintage fabric, and then I can glue them onto my paintings. And somebody said, I've never seen anybody do that before. And I go, yeah, I just dreamed it up. So, and I just get excited about it. So it's very nice to meet all of you. Have my old friends, my new friends, and my best friends, and my daughter, and her new boyfriend here. I'll really call them out, make them embarrassed. But it means a lot, to show up. Thank you. And thank you all for coming, because we get one life, and we never know. And we've learned the hardest way possible that, I just had a friend that was at my house, and now he's gone. And it happened just like that. So, whatever you do in life, we're here for a purpose and a meaning. Find your gifts and talents, and tell everybody about this place. Let's get everybody here. We're going to have a fashion show in a minute. I know that Leonardo has got some refreshments downstairs, so wander around, introduce yourself to people. Nobody bites that I know of.